Last week after chapter 1075 came out, I posted this short. I found it really interesting that Oda was throwing around the idea that Vegapunk could be the traitor in the situation that's going on in Egghead right now. In the video, I said that I didn't really believe he was the traitor, but I figured that I'd make a longer form video and just talk about all the possible scenarios or possible motives that he might have to be the traitor or not be the traitor. Because I do think it's a really interesting topic, and honestly, it's probably something that's going to be answered very soon in the next coming chapters or so. So I really want to come out with a video now and just discuss this, and who knows, I'm really just gonna list out all the possible things that I'm thinking, but definitely leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you have any opinions, definitely let me know because I'd love to hear them. And I also asked for that in the short, and I get, I got no clout, so no one really comments on my shorts or really sees most of my videos most of the time. But to kick off this video, I figured I'd talk about the comment that I did receive from a legend and scholar. Chaos Lord 6820 was the only person who had the confidence, the courage, and most importantly, the fortitude to be able to make their opinions known in my comment section. I'm not that big of a guy, I get that, I got no clout, but Chaos Lord, the clout king, the clout emperor. All right, I'm not that creative. Let me just move it along. Hopefully editor exists will have already put the comments in this part of the video, but I'll just read it. Chaos Lord, hopefully you're British. Well, seeing as how I am the first to comment, I would say Vegapunk is still likely the traitor. He is a very intelligent person because of his devil fruit, so he likely became smart enough to realize that he should do something to help stop the world government. He is likely staying there because he is either being kept captive or he is staying to complete whatever plan he had set in motion. Alright, Brits, tell me how I did. I low-key think I sound Australian, but whatever. Can't fault a man for trying, okay? But in all seriousness, I think this is actually a great idea and a great way to start out this video. I really like the idea that his devil fruit is enhancing, obviously, his smarts, but his ability to think and analyze a situation. And I really like the idea that his devil fruit has an impact on his view of the world government and his relationship with the Gorosei and the government in general, and bringing that together with his pre-existing plan that we already know. And again, we don't know too much about when he got his devil fruit. We know that he was already really smart and intelligent, and we kind of went into the fact that yes, even without his devil fruit, he'd still be a genius, and that his devil fruit really just enhances him and all of that. But I do like the idea that he can use his devil fruit to really analyze all possible angles and all strengths and figure out, okay, is staying with the world government the best option for, achieving what I want to achieve? Is going with someone else, maybe Luffy, maybe the revolutionaries, maybe someone else that we haven't met yet? Is that the best possibility for him and him achieving his goals and dreams? I don't know, but this is a really great point to bring up. His devil fruit really does have an impact on how he thinks. Obviously, he's a genius, but it does give him the ability to probably think about things at a little bit more depth than we are used to and we think about. Where the comment kind of loses me is the fact that he would still be the traitor and still trying to take out the world government. I can kind of see that, and I can see that he would really disregard the Straw Hats and everyone else on Egghead Island and just kind of go about his own thing. But where I do get lost is he does seem to be inflicting damage on himself, or rather his satellite bodies. And I don't know if that's something that he would want to do, considering that his brain is literally, embedded in them. So I'm a little bit lost on that part, but I do like the idea that his devil fruit is helping him analyze every angle that he can possibly take against the world government. I think that's very true. I think that's probably exactly what's happening right now. So on the basis that his devil fruit is helping him, I do think that Vegapunk probably has an idea that the Gorosei are going to unleash some crazy shit on him. He might even know that the Gorosei are coming after him. So I think the more likely scenario is that he is definitely scared of the world government and is probably not going to try to go back to him. I think it was probably true at the beginning of the arc when he said that he knew his time was coming and he knew that his work with the world government was going to come to an end because they were probably catching on to him. I think that is true, and I do believe that. So to recap, I guess the first possible scenario is he is the traitor He knows that the world government's coming after him. He has a preconceived plan that he's following, and this just falls into the plan, and we'll just wait and see what the end result is going to be. And although I think that this is a really good theory and fine, it's definitely not my favorite, because I think that it would just be very, very linear. And for One Piece, very rarely is there a scenario where, you know, someone sees a problem, they seek out to find an answer to that problem, and they have no changes along the way. And even when we're talking about the biggest villains, like, yeah, usually in their origin story, there are some parts that change or some things that happen. So I do think that there's something that's impacting Vegapunk, and, you know, he's been working for the world government for so long, analyzing them, figuring out how they tick and move. I think this is a really weird time for him to be making his move against the world government. And I also think too, right now he has the Straw Hats there. He knows that the world government's going to be targeting them too. So it would be a really good time, theoretically, for him to actually team up with them and not try to hinder them, because if he knows that the world government's coming after him and he thinks he might not be able to defeat them, he's gonna have to escape with someone, or, you know, be protected, or at least have someone allow for him to escape. And so if he teamed up with the Straw Hats, he might be able to do that. And I think that was the original plan, or at least kind of what he told them and got them prepped for. So I don't know too much about him being the actual traitor, in that I don't think he wants the Straw Hats to get taken out, because right now they might be his only protection. Again, he might pull out some crazy future stuff that could completely save him, and, you know, that's a very real possibility. But I definitely think that if he were to be the traitor, it would be one of two things. He would either be siding with the world government and want to take out Luffy, and in that regard, I don't think we would have gotten, you know, the Kizaru and, you know, the St. J. Garcia Saturn, you know, story that we got about them coming to Egghead and going to meet Vegapunk. I just don't think we would have gotten that if he was siding with the world government. And like I said in the short, Oda does like to put in a lot of red herrings, but that'd be a pretty major one. Usually with cutaways and things like that, those seem to usually be true. So I don't think that Vegapunk is siding with the world government right now. So for him to simultaneously be delaying Luffy and delaying the world government kind of doesn't make sense to me. So I don't know if he's truly the traitor or what his intentions would be, because when they list traitor, I assume traitor to be the Vegapunk satellites, the Seraphim, Sentomaru, and the Straw Hats. You know, that's one side. And then the world government, CP0, you know, the Gorosei, Kizaru, all of them's the other side. And so if you were to say, oh, they're a traitor, that would mean if the satellite bodies are saying there's a traitor, someone would be going up against them or contrary to what they want. So I don't think that Vegapunk is doing something contrary to what his own satellites and the Straw Hats are doing. So that brings me to the second idea, and this one being my own. And this is definitely something that I would love to see, or I would just like the angle and how they took it, which is, I'm wondering if Vegapunk might be using this as a test to see what Luffy and the Straw Hats can do against certain enemies or in certain situations, to see if he can really trust them to then sail with them. Okay, so you're gonna laugh because this show's basically getting canceled, but I do watch Boruto. I know it's bad, but they just got out of this arc basically where this mad scientist dude basically just wanted to test a bunch of people's strength and created this whole elaborate scheme to do that. And I can kind of see the parallels here. Vegapunk's a really smart guy. He can basically create whatever devil fruit he wants. He can do whatever he wants. He knows that no one's really as smart as him, and he literally has a devil fruit to make him smarter than anybody else. So I could see him getting bored and being like, hey, we got all these people on here. Let's make it a game. Let's see who can come out of this. Let's see if we can get some data about their devil fruits, and let's see if we can get some data on fighting styles and all this stuff, because he's a really analytical guy and has been really studying and focusing on all this stuff. Also, the Straw Hats have some people that he might see as kind of threats to his own position a bit. Robin might be the only person on Earth that can kind of confirm or counter anything that he's read and consumed in his head that was on Ohara. Frankie had access to a lot of his early stuff and clearly is a very skilled engineer. He also knows about Judge Obviously, they were friends and they worked together. Well, they worked together. And so he probably knows about Sanji too, and he definitely knows about Germa and their technology. So again, he might be able to see what Sanji can do as well. And of course, the most obvious with Luffy, he knows his dad. He probably knows his devil fruit and he knows how it's supposed to look and what's supposed to happen. So this could really just be him trying to trigger that and see what Gear 5 and see what the Sun God Nika fruit is. So if Oda were kind of making this a game and just having Vegapunk test their strength and test out a bunch of stuff, I'd be kind of okay with that. I think it'd just be an interesting angle. I'm not sure if it's my favorite, but it definitely could, I guess, happen and we'll see. But yeah, that brings me to my next idea. And this one I would hate, but at the same time, I would also really like because I feel like, I don't know, it'd just be interesting. What if Vegapunk was just actually a villain and was like your classic One Piece villain, and he was actually just this really corrupt guy that Luffy had to get by and get through? And what if Vegapunk was straight up like, nah, I'm killing everyone on this island. They found out what I do. They know too much. Now, if I let them escape, they'll just bring in more government people. There's more people who know about me and what I do and what I look like and, you know, all my satellites. What if Vegapunk is just trying to eliminate all loose ends right now and trying to just get rid of everybody? That would make him like one of the most ultimate menaces that we've run into, because he just looked like this old man that was happy and goofy and weird, and he looked like Einstein. He had the weird tongue, and Luffy was getting along with him so well and he wanted to join the crew. It would be such a 180 if this guy was just a freak. And it does make sense a little bit, at least, because most of the scientists that we've run into, or doctors that we've run into at this point, are psychos. They have huge egos. And honestly, I think Vegapunk has a huge ego from everything that he's talking about and everything that he said about himself and how he treats, you know, himself and those around him. And you know, it's well deserved. That's like the smartest man in the world, obviously. So he's gonna have an ego, but it kind of makes sense that he could be a mad scientist. It kind of makes sense that he could just be wanting to get rid of everybody, eliminate everyone, and escape on his own. That could happen. I think it would be interesting. It would definitely be a plot twist. So I don't know, one to throw out there. The next one I wanted to talk about, and this is probably the most obvious one, would be dude could have just been captured. I mean, we're talking about Kizaru, who can move at the speed of light. He could have just come in and taken him and dip, and then been doing all this stuff to try to mess with the Straw Hats and everyone on the island, and just this is part of the world government's plan to exterminate them. You know, I feel like I don't need to go into too much detail here. That would be something that could very well happen, obviously. That's why I'm talking about it, but that could just be something that fits straight into the story. That's not really what I want, but again, it could happen, so might as well mention it. I think the most likely scenario is that it's kind of a combination of all of these things, where Vegapunk is actually a lot more of a dark character than we were exposed to and that we thought about at the beginning. He's probably still not partnering with the world government because they definitely are on to him, and he definitely has defied them, and at this point they're probably just going to try to get rid of him, or at the very least imprison him or do something against him that shows, hey, we're the boss, you can't mess around with us. So I do think that he is in some ways partnering with the Straw Hats, but I don't think that he's viewing them as massive allies. And this brings me to my last idea, which would be he could have other allies that we just don't know about. It could be the revolutionaries, it could be other pirates, it could be literally anybody that's strong, and they could be coming to save him. They could have seen that Luffy was headed that way. They could have foreseen that CP0 is coming. I don't know. We have very little information about the world right now and what's going on in Egghead in general, so we have no idea, but it really could be that he has other allies that showed up and are trying to protect him and doing all these things, and maybe they literally just came, took him off the island, and now they're trying to get rid of all the evidence. Could happen. I don't know. A little weak. And you know, actually, as I said that, I didn't have this one written down, but I'm just going off the cuff with it. It could also be that he has enemies, and they are also coming to get rid of him. So it could just be a third party pulling up and being like, hey, Vegapunk, I'm after you, I'm getting you, let's go. I mean, imagine if Blackbeard just pulled up and was like, hey, I want your devil fruit. Hey, I know that you have a bunch of technology that I need to use. I just went up against the Seraphim. I might just go to the source and defeat the person who made the Seraphim, because now I know how strong they are. I need to either use this power or get rid of this power. That would be crazy. Imagine if Aokiji just pulled up and started popping stuff off. Like, that would be nuts. We'd get Aokiji versus Kizaru. We get that back into the story. Who knows? We get an interaction between Aokiji and Robin again. That would be wild. Now, do I think that that's what's happening right now? No. But we've had crazier things happen in One Piece, obviously, and I would love for that to happen because that would definitely progress the story a little bit, at least. We'd probably find out more about Law and his crew, and we'd also probably find out more about Elbaf, and or just if Blackbeard showed up in general. Obviously that would lead to clashes between Luffy. I don't think that's going to happen this early in the story, but if one of his members, again, like Aokiji or someone else, pulled up and got involved in this scenario, then we probably get at least a little bit more information about what's going on outside in the world and maybe possibly our next island or our next stop in the adventure. So I would definitely love for that to happen. Of all of these things, and I love how this is just the one that I freestyled basically, but I don't know, this is kind of my favorite one because it would definitely throw a wrench into the whole story and the trajectory and what we think is going to be happening. So that would be a lot of fun. I mean, can you just imagine Aokiji pull it? Oh my, it would be so awesome. I can dream, okay? I can dream. That's why I end all my videos like that. Chase your dreams. I am chasing Aokiji pulling up to Egghead. It's not gonna happen, but I want it to. Please, Oda, please. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Sorry I haven't been posting that many long form videos. I'm still trying to work out kind of the scheduling. The posting and making of shorts has been a lot more intensive than I thought it was going to be, and I was hoping to basically post a short every day and then a longer video every weekend, at least one a week, but that obviously hasn't been happening, so I'm going to work really hard to try to make that happen. That's the goal, obviously. But yeah, in the comments, let me know if I missed any ideas or if you have any cool ideas or anything about this video or anything in general. Just let me know. I love talking to you guys. I love getting new comments. Whenever I get the notification for a comment, I'm always excited, whether they agree with me or don't. It's always fun to just have interaction with the community. But if you did like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps me with the algo and it helps me feel like I'm doing something that matters. I know that's weird, but you know, I am chasing my dream too. So, and one of those is just being able to talk and make videos and have fun with it. So that's what I want to do. But yeah, we're closing in on 100 subscribers and I am so happy and proud of that. You have no idea. For such a small milestone, this channel just brings me so much joy and it really just reaffirms my love for this series. And I love being able to enjoy it with other people. So go live your dreams, chase your dreams, have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for spending the past few minutes with me, listening to me ramble about shit that I love. Hopefully you do the same with stuff that you love. Go chase your dreams, and I'm out.